United States Mint proof sets. And it's on a price break of $30 off at $99.95. So let's, I love the answer to this question, which is, why do they call it green box? Because the boxes are green. Mike always says, we're not a complicated bunch.
We're not. Yeah. We are what we are.
We are what you are.
We are what we are.
These are green.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
The green box proof sets are so named because they're green. Okay, as you can see, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. The United States government made these. And what happened is these are very unique sets. I rarely sell these. At a price break of $99.95, I don't know that I've ever sold these. Basically $20 a set. Yeah. The original, this original cost. Now here's the thing. 1998, the very next year they started the state quarter program. Prior to that, the coin collecting business was pretty moribund at best. In other words, they only made these to order. So between 1954 and now, yeah, the 5 rarest government proof sets are these 5. Really? It's these 5. Because they only made them to order and nobody really cared in 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. So the only ones you have are ones that people actually ordered. That's right. And so that's what they did. Now here's what this creates. This creates basically the 5 rarest proof Kennedy half dollars. It creates the 5 rarest Lincoln cents from 1954 all the way through. The 5 rarest quarters, the 5 rarest nickels, the 5 rarest dimes. It creates all of that. Now here's the reason I never sell these. And I don't know if you have that there as to when the last time I sold these. June. First time back since June. Since June. Yes. So we're September. Yes. Okay. So we're September. And the reason for that is that they're hard to get, and the reason I can do price break is palladium. Palladium. Is palladium, again. And then the other reason is we sell lots of proof Kennedy sets. The only way to get San Francisco minted Kennedys from 94, 95, 96, 97, and 98 is to take one of these sets and break them open. You can see it says packaged by the United States Mint, right in there, anywhere of these right here. It says in that upper left-hand corner, packaged by the United States Mint. So you're paying basically $20 a set, $99.95. I've sold thousands of these when I get them at $129.95, and here's why. I'm gonna go ahead and price from individually, like we sell them, just the Kennedy half dollars in this set. Okay? Starting in 94. $21, $38, $20, $29, and $34.50. So the Kennedy half dollars in this set are 150 bucks. Just for the Kennedy? Just for the Kennedys, coin by coin. So if you're a Kennedy half dollar collector, you can buy this set and you can do what you will with the rest of the coins. You are getting, excuse me, a pretty good value just by getting the Kennedy half dollars in here. And you're going, okay, well, does anything else worth any money in there? Well, let's take a look at the Lincoln cents. Because these are the 5 rarest, okay? The Lincoln, the pennies in here, $8.50, $8.75, 8 1/4, $9.75, and $11.50. So the pennies are 50 bucks. So we're 200 bucks. So, and it goes on with the nickels and the quarters, and so coin by coin, I added them all up. If you would buy them individually, you're about, if you buy these individually out of nationally advertised catalog, about 430 bucks. Well, that's why at $99.95, it's pretty incredible. Now, they're gonna come with all the original mint boxes. So there's nothing wrong with these. As a matter of fact, these are individually hand-selected. This is the original United States Mint Certificate of Authenticity. See, I love this stuff. Okay, that explains every one of the coins that are in here. The penny, the nickel, the dime, and what you have in here, you have the obverse designed by, the reverse designed by, the composition, the weight, the diameter, and the edge on every single one of those. There's the United States Mint Certificate of Authenticity signed by the director of the Mint at the time, Phil Deal, coming in the original box that you're gonna have, the green box, which is why these are green box proof sets. Who appoints that? Is that a presidential appointment? The What's that? Head of the, that's a presidential appointment, the Mint director. of the United States Mint. So what happens is I get these coins, and oftentimes, so we sell, one of the most popular things we sell here are 50 years of proof sets, 40 years of proof sets,
right.
These huge proof set runs. What are the 5 most difficult sets for me to put the set together?
Yeah.
The green box sets.
Green box sets.
It's why I can rarely offer them by themselves. Like I said, 2, 3, maybe 4 times a year. And when I do offer them, look at the mint seal that's on the back of the box there.
Yeah. I'll show you the here and then the seal. The box comes with it.
Here, why don't you turn the seal side? I'm going to put those over here. And see, the certificates of authenticity are in there.
Yeah.
Okay, in the box themselves. I want to put the 97 box up there so that you can see that, the front and the back. When I do bring them out, you know, 3 times or 4 times a year, it's $129.95. I'm able to do the price break on this, and the last time I sold them in June, they weren't $99.95.
Is it because of palladium?
It's exactly because of palladium.
I'm learning. See how I pay attention?
You're learning. You do pay attention. So some guy, he needs palladium money, and he says, okay, I've been putting all these green box proof sets back.
Right.
I go, how many you have? He says, I got like 500 each. I said, well, what do you want? I said, well, that's too much. Well, I need them for palladium. I know you need it for palladium. So how about I give you this? And he says, okay. So I got a discount of about 30%.
Right.
So you get a discount of about 30% is the way that it works.
And
now,
some guy gets his palladium.
Right, and some guy gets his palladium for 3 times what they were issued for. So what you're going to have here, now here's the thing. Look at this. There's the United States Mint seal. This is exactly the way they came from the government. 1994, 1995, 96, 97, 98. You're going to get them in the original condition, and here's the best price. And one of the reasons I wanted to do the price break, you're getting them for the original mint cost if you count in the individual shipping and handling. They're basically anywhere between $14.95 and $17.95 originally, plus the shipping and handling. And that's what I'm able to do for you literally, what are we, 10, 25 years later.
Yeah.
So we are now 25 years later that we're going to have out of this in the original government packaging, at $30 off. You're down to $19.95 a set. It's the 5 rarest United States government issued proof sets.
Yep.
From 1954 through basically 2018. These are the ones.
And this is it.
Now here's the thing. People say, so what's that mean? These are San Francisco minted coins. So not only are they proof, remember proof is not a condition but a method of manufacturing. It's also the case that the San Francisco minted Kennedys are only available in United States government issue proof sets. They're available no place else. They're only available in these proof sets. That's an absolutely key consideration for you. So that's why these sets literally get rarer. So when I sell the last 40 years of Kennedy half dollars, every one of those sets that I sell, I got to break open one of these, one of these, one of these, one of these, one of these.
Crack it open and get what's inside.
And what I try to do is find sets where, let's say, the penny's messed up, or the nickel or the dime. So just the Kennedy. And so once I buy this huge deal of sets, I put together all the sets that are complete across the board.
I do want to mention that there's 3 flex pay on this, $32.32 to get home. So not only a price break, also flex payment. And I will give you the item number. This is how you order here, 142687. You can even call the number on your screen or go to hsn.com and put the item number in the search, and you'll be able to pick things up. And want to welcome in all the new customers. We do have an update.